see me later. I ain't really worried about no motherfucking hater. I'm just really stacking cheese, I'm just stacking paper. Kicked up in the field, catch a telling patient. God send it at your time, yeah, song wait. We up on fleek. Gotta stay on my hustle, gotta keep elevating. Got the rack stacked up, yeah, I'm hella cake. Tell me what you saying, yeah, I get that.
Thank you for joining me. Welcome to the People's Choice Podcast. It's really an honor to have you on here. For everyone who didn't get to see like my promo that I had for you on Facebook and Instagram, if you mind giving a small introduction for my peeps.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Lahela Daniels. I went to Western Harnett with Alvin and I graduated 2016. And I just graduated in June from the University of Oregon with my Bachelor of Arts in Sociology and Legal Studies. Um, I guess like in the promo, I said that I was involved in Black Student Union. I was the public relations and the co-director for the Black Student Union at my school. And then I was initiated into the Sigma Delta chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Spring 18 ACE Club. So, and then I served as the vice president. And now I am the public relations director for the grad chapter. So
Awesome.
do stuff out here and now I have a big girl job and whatnot. So
You've always had a big girl job. You always carried yourself that way. I mean, it's amazing just hearing all the things you've accomplished so far. That's like so amazing. I'm so proud of you.
thank you.
So let's take it to, I guess, the beginning. So, like, where did you grow up from? Where was you born? Because, or are you military? Like, did you move around a lot?
Yeah, so I'm military. I was born in Washington and then I moved to Germany and then I moved to Colorado and I stayed there until I was in like sixth grade. And then from sixth grade to when I graduated high school, I was in North Carolina. But I always claim North Carolina as my home. So
Hey, same here. Yeah, I was born in Connecticut and lived there till I was 12, and then been in North Carolina ever since, and I'm still here now, repping for Fayetteville right now for the most part.
every time someone asks me like where I'm from, like here, I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I'm from North Carolina." And then they say where from, I'm like, like the Fayetteville area, and they're like, "J. Cole." I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah, J. Cole definitely put on for us. So,
yeah."
so that's amazing. Being a military child and moving around a lot, living in North Carolina. What was the biggest challenge, I should say, for you when basically moving around as a kid? Because like with me, I moved around a lot, but like it was hard for me to like keep friends. Was that like a challenge for you as well?
Mm, I would say it was kind of a challenge. Like in the beginning, like when I first came to North Carolina, like it was going straight into middle school. It was the first day, and I was like, everyone seems to know each other from like elementary school. I don't know anybody.
Hmm.
Like I don't know. I guess I just kind of talked a little bit more. I stepped outside my comfort zone. I was just like, okay, this is fine. And then when I moved to Oregon, it was kind of like the same thing, but like, of course, I was older and I had like more knowledge, and I was just like, I need to do this. So just straight up moved.
That's what's up. Because I mean, that surprised me when I found out that you went to Oregon. I'm like, holy crap, you're far as hell. Way.
I was like, why are you going across the country? I was like, man, I need to get away. I need to start clean. So I highly recommend like moving outside your hometown.
Do you ever miss North Carolina now that you've been in Oregon now for some years now?
Like, yeah, I'm planning right now to go back.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's so many differences. Like I had major culture shock when I moved to Oregon. Like the food, there's no cookout, no Waffle House, no Zaxby's, no nothing.
What?
Yeah, like I went to Eugene and there's no Chick-fil-A or Popeyes there, so I had to like go
Damn.
hours away. So that's the part that I miss the most. I can't wait to have cookout again. But then the music, the slang is just so different. Like everything's different.
That was actually one of the mailbag questions for later on when someone asks what's the biggest difference.
Okay,
So,
bet.
we-
Okay.
we'll get to that. I'll let you go more into detail about that. So let's take it to Western. So like graduating from Western, and I know you did like a lot of different things. I know you played sports for a little bit too, right?
Mm-hmm.
He opened up about that. I think you did track, right?
Yeah, so I did track, I did cross country, and I did soccer. I like to run. So in the fall, it was cross country. And then I did indoor track. That was like probably the best sport. I wish I would have stuck with that, but here we are. And then soccer. So it wasn't too bad. I was captain of like the track and the soccer team.
Hey, look at you. You're a natural born leader already from the start.
Yeah.
So when playing sports in Western and just being involved with a lot of stuff, you're involved in a lot of the groups too, right? Like the alpha team or beta teams and stuff like that, or clubs. I
Yeah.
mean, not groups.
Oh no, you're good. I was part of the beta club. I think since sophomore year, I was part of the beta club, and then we had like these groups called SOAR, and it's like SOAR clubs, and I was in like political science, and then I went to ethnic studies and some graphic design. So like I was part of that, and then when I was a senior, I was the senior class president, and so I have to like plan the 10-year reunion and whatnot. And then I was homecoming queen, and I think that was it. And then best all around, I guess, for my superlative, but yeah.
Wow, look at all those accolades, man. That is amazing. See, I was out of Western around that time, so I missed a lot of that. You know, seeing you shine like that. Actually, I remember the first time I ran into you was actually I was working at Hardee's. I don't know if you remember that. I was a manager there.
Yeah, I do
Remember that? And you had a Western shirt, and I was like, "Oh shit, Western! That's my old school." And then like we just start talking, just like hit it off like ever since. So like it's amazing hearing how great you were doing all that stuff at Western.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, they have a Hardee's up here, but they call it Carl's Jr.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And believe it or not, though, because like when I was in management over there, they always said Carlos Jr. was like always better because the menu was like so much deeper than what Hardee's was. So,
Whoa. I was
so
like,
you might want to stop there one day. No. So after graduating Western Harnett in 2016, you decided to go to Oregon. Like, what was the reason Oregon? Because you know most people when they graduate they want to go somewhere in state. Like, how come you thought like having to like move away from like your friends, family? Like, how did you know Oregon was the place to go?
it was mostly like my beliefs. I feel like I'm more progressive than like some of the beliefs in North Carolina. So I knew the West Coast was kind of going to be like a stepping stone. And then I also felt like I just needed to get into a new environment. And especially like in North Carolina, like I love it. Like it's slow and like it's calm and everything. Like all my people are there. But I felt like I just needed I needed something to shake. So I was just like, okay, I'm going to up and move. I'm going to start over. I'm going to meet new people. And then when I got there, I was just like, dang, I'm so homesick. But yeah,
I was gonna ask, was you homesick?
I just needed like a new slate, and that's what it gave me. And I felt like I could find like a lot of opportunities over here, and there's not that much opportunities in North Carolina that I'm aware of today. But back then, I was just like, I feel like Oregon is a move.
Awesome. And when you got in Oregon, was when you first started, did you go into the public relations for Black Sorority like immediately, or did you wait a little bit?
I waited a little bit. So when I first moved there, there's no Black people here in Oregon. So I was just like,
Really? What?
all my friends back home, like I was just like, man, this is so different. I hate it here, blah 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 blah. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I just need to get out more because I did just I moved here all by myself, and so I was just like, okay, I'm gonna get involved. Where do I need to get involved? So I went first to the Black Student Union, and they welcomed me. So like it was just like, okay, like come on, come on, come on. And so I went to like every meeting every Wednesday at 6, and then I wanted to like be a part of like the staff, and so I interned for the PR coordinator. And then the more I interned, the more I got into that position. So when that previous person was there, and then they left, I got into that position, and then I just moved up to co-director. And then after that, when did I do that? I did that like the fall before 2018, and then spring 2018 um is when I crossed into my sorority, and then that's when I became the PR coordinator for them like a couple months later. And then yeah, fall 2018, I became the co-director for Black Student Union.
Awesome. What are like the responsibilities of being the co-director?
Well, you have to coordinate all the meetings. You have to make sure everyone is like on top of like their tasks and whatnot. So I kind of like assigned the tasks. I made sure everyone was like doing their jobs like effectively, and I coordinated a lot of events. So every year we have like annual events. Like in the fall we have like Kwanzaa celebration, and
Oh,
so we
cool.
just order food from like the local African like restaurants, and if it's not local, we order from like Portland, and there's like a lot of good like African food there. And then in the winter we have a Black Excellence Gala, and that just basically it highlights the people in our community that are doing like community service. So we would have awards like best music like artist or greatest GPA or something like that, most outstanding male athlete, female athlete. We wanted to like highlight everybody. So literally it's kind of like the Met Gala. Everyone dressed up to show out, and then we gave out awards, and that's like an annual thing. And I think the one that I hosted, it was a lot of people. It was a lot, but it went pretty well. It went pretty well. And then we hosted Black graduation near June. So that's just like exactly what it sounds like. Black graduation, Black students, Black excellence. So it was good.
Awesome. Just showing that Black excellence, definitely. And I'm glad that you got, a part of that because, like you said, Oregon, like there's not really many Black people out there, but yet you're still able to organize and get so many people out there. Like that is truly amazing.
Yeah, it was a lot of work, honestly, because when I first got there, there was only like 500 something Black students out of 26,000 students.
Whew.
So it's kind of hard to like find people. And whenever I find people, like, oh my God, thank goodness I see like a person who looks like me.
So let's talk about a little bit of Alpha Kappa Alpha when you became a member of that. What was that like, and what exactly is that for the viewers that don't know?
So Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated is the first Black sorority, and we were founded on January 15, 1908 on the campus of Howard University. And that's who we are. We are of service to all mankind. Um, so I don't know how to, I guess talk about it. I guess mm, serving in the chapter that I did, it was a lot of work just because when I came through, there were only 4 people, including me. So we have a really small chapter compared to like, A&T and like all the HBCUs on the East Coast. We have a really small chapter. So it was kind of hard to get our names out there and try to like say like, hey, there's other, Black sororities. There's sororities that want like to serve the community, and it's not just for the time that you have at college. Like I'm still in it. I just graduated. I'm still in it. So we're in it for life. Like,
I was gonna say, sound like you in, blood out.
yeah, you can't go back. And this is probably one of the choices that I will never ever regret. Like I've learned so much as a woman and like as a sister and as a friend and as a leader to just like be who I am. And I've traveled so many times like because of AKA. I've been to LA. I've been to like Portland and just other parts of California that I never thought I would visit, and they've all granted me the opportunity of meeting so many like other women who were just like me
That's
and
so
doing their
awesome.
things too. So I just grew my network so much.
So, like when you speak of like A&T and all these other spots like on the East Coast, is there a way for you guys to like mingle like together? Like, do you guys set up meetings like, hey, you want to come over and like invite them over to Oregon, or like maybe they'll invite you guys over and maybe like share ideas or like different ways to empower more African American students and well African American men and women beyond just students.
Yeah, so we have like an annual meeting. And it's just like once a year, and it's like where every chapter in the country goes to one spot. And I think the last one, I don't think I didn't go to it, but it was in Houston, and it was just a lot. Like everyone just went there, and it was like the way that it was described to me, it was just the whole state was pink and green. But yeah, that's just like a one-time thing. But other times we have like conferences. For example, we have like our Far Western Region conference, and it's like all the AKAs like on the West Coast, and we just meet in one spot, and we just meet each other, have fun, talk business, and that's it.
Awesome. Now, in the promo that I put out for you, where we talked about your senior year, when you became the president of your chapter and head of Forbes Article, what exactly was that like?
Oh
Because
man.
that when I heard that, I was like, oh shit.
I was the vice president of my chapter, and that was just probably one of the most coachable moments like that I had in my 4 years. It served me a lot just to like understand how people work together, how people work individually, and kind of like how the school system works. 'Cause I really had to like work with the school system and the administration and try to like get our names out there. So working like that with my partner in crime, like she was the president, I live with her, she's my roommate. So me and her were the co-directors for Black Student Union too. So we just kind of like nailed it together. It was such like a, I don't even know how to describe it. It's an indescribable moment that I can just remember feeling. Like every time I think about it, I feel empowered and I feel so thankful, I guess, for that time. And then my in November last oh wait, it's 2021 now. November 2019 was the month that I like went onto my email and then they were like, "Oh yeah, you should check this link out." So I went to the link and I was like, "Okay, what is this?" And I saw my name like right under the F like for Forbes. I was like, "What is this? What is going on?" And mind you, a couple like we were talking about it a couple months before that release. It was just like, oh yeah, we just want you to talk about um, being a first generation military student and going to college. You're the first one to go to college, so how does it feel? Blah 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 blah. And I didn't think it was gonna be in Forbes, and so I was just like, all right, well, I'm just gonna write about it. I never saw or heard anything about it again until that November. So I was like, wow, this
That
is
had to
great.
be such a proud moment because I mean that's a real big deal,
Yeah, I
especially
was
coming
like,
from small North Carolina.
I'm like, something like I have to like talk, I have to like brag about because like I don't really like to brag about like a lot of things, but that one I was just like, man, I gotta put on for like the people back home, like, yo, I made it, like I'm on Forbes.
That is amazing. Like I said, I'm always very proud of you. That was an amazing compliment when you told me that. I was like, oh shit. And speaking of putting back on for, like the home state and stuff, you got basically the scholarship that you had am I saying this right? The keynote speech, right?
Yeah,
The keynote speech when you did that. Like, speak about that before we jump into the scholarships and stuff to like distribute it. Like, what was the preparation for that? Like, because to me, like from what I looked up, like keynote speech, I wasn't too familiar with it. It
mhm.
looked kind of terrifying.
Man. Okay, so the scholarship that I have, it's called Corvius Scholarship Foundation, and it's meant for like military students who do community service. So I won that. I was a recipient of that when my senior year of high school. And so, yeah, we can talk about like all of the details of that later. But in
Mhm.
essence, they were the ones that linked me to the Forbes. Like that's how I got onto the Forbes like article. Yeah. And so I'm pretty active. Like they stay with you, they give you a mentor and everything. They stay with you throughout your 4 years, they support you throughout your 4 years. And over time, I just built so much of a relationship with the people who like are in charge of it. And they're like, you know what? We want you to be the keynote speaker. So I was like, huh? What? It was finally like my time. So when I won that scholarship, I went to Boston for the orientation, and I was just looking up there like I want to be on that stage one day, like giving like a keynote speech. And so that was literally me when I was 18, and then at 23 I gave the keynote speech. I was like, oh my god, but it was through Zoom, so I couldn't do it in Boston.
Still nerve wracking.
Yeah, it really was. And so they told me that. I was like, what do I want to say to the 2020 graduates? Like, we didn't get to spend our last semester, our last quarter in person. It had to be online. How do I want people to remember this whole like 4 year journey? And then on top of everything else, like the pandemic, I don't think the protests were happening yet, but I think it was like building up to it. Um, Oyen had passed away. I don't know if you guys remember, but she had been killed. And then there was just so many other lives taken on top of a pandemic, and then just trying to graduate, trying to bust out this GPA. I was under a lot of pressure, like going through that speech. I was like, I don't know how to quite articulate that. And I literally stayed up till that time. Like I did not sleep during that speech. I
Really?
practiced literally like 20 times. I recorded myself, I edited some parts. And Ramadan is it's a month period where you fast and you don't eat, drink water, you don't do anything like that you shouldn't be doing during the month from the sunrise to the sunset. That was like my life for a month, and that was my second year doing it, and it was a lot more tolerable. But then I was also writing the speech at the same time, so I was going through a lot at the time.
Sounds like
But
it. Oh,
Keynote Speech is on YouTube. So if you type in Lahela Daniels Keynote Speech, you will find it.
I'm definitely looking that up because I've done research on it, and I was like hearing about it and seeing like some videos. I'm like, oh my god, you did that! Like, I know you say you did through Zoom, but still, that's a big deal, and that's nerve wracking on top of like everything that was going on. And we could touch about that too, like with the craziness that's been happening in the world with Black Lives Matter, the police brutality, the protests, and everything. And I mean, I'm in Fayetteville, right down the street from when all that stuff was happening. What was it like in Oregon when all that was going on? Was there protesting? Was there like riots and stuff happening as well?
Yeah, they're still protesting.
Uh,
Like, oh my gosh. So it all started like I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to this really big protest in Eugene, and there were thousands and thousands of people there. I'd never seen that many people in Eugene before, and the way that I don't know like how many people would like know me from high school, but they know whoever knows that I am open-minded and I will voice my opinion about something. Like I don't care, especially if it has to do with like my life and my friends' life, my family's lives. So I remember just getting like a lot of heat back in high school just for saying Black Lives Matter. And now it's like seeing it everywhere. It's like I like the progress, but it's not over. And so
mhm.
in Oregon, it was just kind of hard because there were a lot of allies, quote, quote, allies. And it seemed like they cared, but in reality, they just posted a black tile and went on with their day. And then they would show up to a couple protests, and then they would just be like, "I have been out here for 3 days." Blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, well, I've been living 23 years, and
Yeah, let's say.
you're tired. Like the allies were saying, like, I've been out here for 3 days protesting, and I'm tired of all of the racism. Like, well, try living it. Try living it.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, it was just be out there to like show like face and whatnot, but at the end of the day the protests in Eugene, they just seemed like very performative, and I really didn't like it. I protested for like a week, and I was just trying to get like a vibe of it, and I just didn't like it. And I went to protest in Portland, and it was a really big one, and they had like an OG Black Panther, and he wanted to get like radical about it. And I was like, yes, like let's get radical. Like let's talk about it. Like let's not hurt like because my life matters more than these white feelings. I don't care. Like let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. And they were like, no, like let's don't do that. We're here for safety and peace. I'm like, why would you tell an OG Black Panther to not talk about his experience?
Hmm.
So
It's
after
like
that,
extremely disrespectful, basically.
yeah, like after that, I didn't go to any more protests. I would rather been in Atlanta or like North Carolina or something. But there are
It
people
was
still,
wild in North Carolina.
I'm
I
not
was
dead.
wild.
There are still people like protesting out here though. Like I drove by the other day and they're in front of the courthouse still, and it's raining. So I know those people are dedicated, but it's not as big as a group as it was before.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's where it was like with me, like it seemed like a lot of people were joining because it was trending. Then once it started dying down, then you started seeing people just like going about their lives and their days, and timelines and stuff were just clearing up. But it's like, the fight's not over. There's still inequality. There's actually a video going around like in my county, like in Cumberland, of basically a policeman, a guy's getting arrested by like 3 officers, and another officer has like a M16 to his head
Yeah, see,
as he's getting arrested, and it's like, is that really necessary? It's like the fight is not over.
yeah, there's still a lot of work to be done. Like, why do police have Teslas right now? Like, they need to put that money towards education or something else, but that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, and some people are just not really ready for like that conversation without really like get mad, because like some people would think like you're anti law enforcement and stuff, and it's like, no, like we know law enforcement is important. We just want law enforcement to be fair and not kill Black people for no reason, or any race for any reason, abusing their power and stuff. But not everybody is mature enough for that argument. Like, and I don't want to get started on the Colin Kaepernick thing. Lord, if he was following me on Facebook, I got into plenty of arguments over that.
Yeah, those were stressful.
Yeah. But the fight will continue, and I'm very proud of you for taking your part in that and believing in what you believe in, fighting for your life, and not just your life, my life, and many other African Americans all around, even the ones we don't know. That's amazing.
I appreciate that.
So now let's get on to a little happier subject. Let's talk about the scholarship that you are now trying to distribute throughout, back to Sanford and well, basically Western, because some people consider Western Lillington, but it's like borderline Lillington, Sanford. But let's talk about that, because I've seen your video that you posted on it and your status, and I think it's just amazing that you want to give back to your old stomping grounds.
Of course. Okay, so I am a 2016 recipient of the Corvius Scholarship Foundation, and it basically entails high school seniors who have done a lot of community service, and they basically look for, the reason why they look for military students is because we move around a lot, and they just wanted to see like how well we can adapt to whatever community that we're in and how we can best serve it. So elementary school, I did a lot. I was in student council. I was a treasurer for it. I was in 5th grade. Like, what? And then middle school, I was like in honors services, like honors clubs and band and whatnot. And I played sports. I did a lot of community service at a thrift store. And then I just carried that into high school. And they saw that, and every year they pick like 11 or 12 students in the entire country. And I was one of them. And I was like, I didn't even want to apply. I was just like, I'm never going to get this one. I'm never going to get it. Like, they picked 12 people out of the whole country. There's no way I'm going to get this one. But I had to swallow that pill and just be like, you don't know that. Like, you don't know they're not going to pick you. They don't know, like, if you just don't know. So you just have to apply. Like, you can't be scared. You can't be consumed by that fear. You can't be consumed by your own self-doubt. You have to tell that voice to be quiet and just like do it. So I did it, and I did it. Like, I got it. And so, yeah, it's a $50,000 scholarship, and it's like over the course of 4 years. And I can tell you that every single experience that I've had with that scholarship has been one of the greatest moments like of my life. I'm so serious. Like, Boston, I got to go for my orientation, and I just toured the entire city. I got to go into the Boston Celtics like stadium. I watched the Boston Red Sox from the suite, like the box suite. I got to walk onto the field. They said my name and everything in front of everybody. And I was
so cool.
This is amazing. And then my sophomore year, they offered me to go to this leadership conference in Orlando, all expenses paid. I was like, this is crazy. Are you serious? So I went there. My flight was paid. It was a nice hotel. I got to meet up with like the alumni over there. This one alumni, she's also from Fayetteville. And I got to represent like my class, like 2016. And I met so many new connections. I met with so many keynote speakers, so many motivational speakers, so many people that just build their brand and build their name just off the strength of like who they are. Like, these people, they just live and they make money just because of who they are and what they provide to the community and how they're other leaders. Like, I was in a room full of other leaders, and I'm pretty sure there was other people in there dang, I'm in a room full of leaders, and I was one of them. And I got that opportunity because of that scholarship. And then after that, what was it? It was just meeting more people, more networking, and then it was the Forbes like article,
Wow.
and then I was the keynote speaker. So this scholarship is really something that I want to just like give back to. Like I personally can't do it, but like it's been my goal since I graduated. Like honestly, it's been my goal since I graduated to come back to North Carolina and serve the crowd that made me. At first I wanted to go to law school and be a lawyer, and obviously that's not it, but maybe law school later. But I wanted to become a lawyer and go back home and like just try to do something with the youth that would try to get them like out of trouble.
Mm,
But since that's not my reality right now, I figured that I should just like talk about that scholarship. So little old me going to Western, doing all these big things,
yeah.
that same scholarship could do the same thing for someone who's probably like me, or probably someone who has it less than me, or whatever. They want to go to college but they don't know how to do it. That is the perfect opportunity. So I've been reaching out to like the guidance counselor. I'm going to chop it up with her like whenever they come back after winter break.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that I can get like a group of high school seniors who have community service um, into a Zoom call, and I can just talk about it like with them. And I tell them to apply. Like the application is open right now. Like please apply. And then I hope to like reach out to the superintendent of like the schools, and not just Harnett County, maybe like Lee County, or shoot,
Mm-hmm.
maybe the whole state. Like I want to
Yeah,
put everybody on. Like there is a military base here, but I would rather serve my community.
that is amazing. And I'm hoping that with my show, because I'm still well connected over out there in Sanford and Fayetteville and everywhere, like we can just put this on display on a platform, or use my platform, to get the word out, because that is amazing. And it's crazy just how young you are, but you've had experienced so much in life already. What do you think is like what is like the most like precious thing that you've experienced in life so far? Because I mean, you've done a lot so far.
Ooh, the most precious thing that I've experienced. I think the most precious thing that I've experienced in my life so far is just the time that I have with like myself, and the time that I have with others. I don't want to sound corny, but like it's just, you have to really cherish like the time that you have like with people. Like obviously 2020 was like crazy. And
Mhm.
I think that's what made me realize like I need to like slow down and like really take in the moment, like be present in the moment. And I realized like that's what I didn't really do that in high school. I was so ready to get the hell up out of there, and I didn't really cherish like the times that I had. But when I look back at it, it's still like good times. But even in college, I was just like, dang, like I have one more year left. Oh my gosh, I have 3 more years left. I can't wait to get up out of Oregon, blah, 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 blah. But now I wish I could go back to that time. Like I wish that I could do so many other different things. And I think in my 23 years, it's just time is time is obviously a social construct, but that's a different conversation. Time is something that shouldn't be taken for granted. And I think you have to use it wisely. You never know like what's gonna happen. So you just use it wisely. Say yes, say no if you want. Like it's you, like it's your life. So you gotta choose how you want to spend your time here on this earth. How do you want to be remembered?
So your time is the most precious. That's an amazing answer. And one thing I always ask all my guests, I don't know if you've seen like past shows, is like I'm a big quote guy. I love quotes because quotes sometimes is all I've had to get me through, like no matter if it's episodes or hardships or even good times. So like, what is a quote that either like your family instilled in you, or something you heard like that can get you through like anything?
Ooh, man, that's a good question. I mentioned it in my keynote speech too. That's so funny.
I
And
come
it's
up with the good questions.
yeah, that is a really good question. That is a really good question. Oh gosh. Oh no. Okay. There's this one quote that I said at the end of my my speech, and for some reason I just can't remember it right now. Okay. It's every negative pressure, challenges is all an opportunity for me to rise. And that was said by Kobe Bryant. R.I.P.
Yeah, I'll say rest in peace, Kobe. Can you
So
believe it's
I'm gonna
almost been a
say,
year?
huh?
Can you believe it's almost been a year since he's been
Yeah,
gone?
this month is gonna be like a year, bruh. But I'm gonna say it again. It's every negative pressure, challenges is all an opportunity for me to rise. So with every downfall, with every rejection, and with every failure that I've like experienced, it just gave me like a lesson. And so I was just like, I took it to the chin. I was sad for a little bit, but I was just like, you know what? I'm not gonna let this happen again. I know what I need to do for next time to be accepted, to get what I want, to do it the right way. It's just an opportunity for me to learn. And like the fact that like it was said by like Kobe Bryant, like I don't know, it was heartbreaking like in the moment. It was very bittersweet to like even say it. Whenever I had my keynote speech and I was like saying it, I felt like so emotional just because I was thinking about everything that I went through and how like how good it feels to be on top. But then I just knew that I still had to like keep on like going and going and going. I'm still learning. I'm still being rejected and like having failures. And a lot of people don't talk about, being rejected. They always talk about their victories and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, no one's going to talk about their failures. Of course, no one's going to talk about their rejections. And that like sucks to talk about, but it's a part of life. Like that's how you grow. That's how you learn. That's how you move forward.
That's
You
true.
have to be pulled back in order to move forward.
That's so true. Thank you for sharing that quote too. I'm gonna put that down as my list of quotes that I love from like all my guests.
Or
so,
of
so are you ready to dive into the mailbag questions?
course, let's get it.
All right. I know we touched on this one a little bit. But this one came from Kayla when she was asking, what was the biggest difference from North Carolina to Oregon? I know you said, you're missing the cookout. Can't wait for that. What else are like the biggest differences between the two states?
I would say the mannerisms, the manners, the hospitality. That was the first thing. Whenever I moved here,
Mm-hmm.
I was saying, like, to my professors who earned a PhD, I said, yes, ma'am, yes, yes, sir, no, ma'am, no, sir. And they're like, don't call me that. And I was like, okay. They were like, just call me by my first name. Like, what? If I got a PhD, you gonna call me doctor? What? No, that was the first thing. And then I would say like y'all
Yeah,
and stuff.
I struggle with
I
that.
said y'all, and then they were like, "You mean you guys, you all, everybody?" I was like, "Huh?" It's just so much easier to compact it into y'all. And they're like, "You're not from here, are you?" I was like, "No, I'm from North Carolina." And they're like, "Oh, that explains it." Like,
Like, what you mean by that?
the music is so different. They have, like they listen to E40 and like Too Short over here. It's a lot of Bay Area music. So I
Mhm.
kind of like got used to like listening to it, and then they wouldn't like know like a lot of like North Carolina artists either, like East Coast artists. So they would just be like, "Who are you listening to? Why are they talking like so much violence?" I'm like, okay, whatever. Let's see, music, slang. The slang was different. I was kind of touching on that. Mm,
But it's funny you mentioned that because, like, when I left Connecticut and came to North Carolina, I'm used to saying like their first name or, like, yes, Mr. Ward or yes, Miss whoever. So when I got to North Carolina and I said that, and I remember my teacher, Miss Rice, at the time was like, "What you say?" And I'm like, "Yes, Miss Rice." She's like, "Yes, ma'am." And I'm like,
mm,
what? And then like I had some friends too, they'll say like, y'all, and I'm like, do you mean you all? Like, because in Connecticut it's so proper. But then like, as I live down here and been down here forever, now it's just y'all. Yeah. And then, like, one of my friends gets on me, he's from up back home, where he's like, "Hey, have you seen your promo stuff and you say y'all a lot? What are you talking about?" I'm like, it's just shortened for you all or everybody. And it's funny that here that you went through that same thing just in reverse, and it was like, oh shit, I went through that too.
Yeah, and then like the style is just so much different. Like it's very when you think of like a Californian person or like a LA YouTube influencer, that's like kind of how they all dress here. It's either that's that end of the spectrum or like a thrifty type, like vintage 60s, 70s type.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the style, but that's just kind of how it is, I guess. I never seen those two styles in North Carolina, so that was the other thing that I noticed.
You just ain't hung around me long enough. That's why.
Oh, you're right.
All right. So this next one comes from Jalen. It says, with doing so many things at once, how do you manage to have a social life?
It's barely alive. Ooh, you just gotta, plan. Like with all the things that I've done, I just try to really make time for myself. And the time that I make for myself, I make it with my friends because that's when I'm like the most comfortable and that's when I'm the most happy. Like you just really have to schedule that time out. Even like that just sounds so like weird to like, oh yeah, let me like make a schedule like to spend time with my friends. But when you do as many things as you like I have done, and you try to balance school and extracurriculars and all of that, a job at the same time, like you have to make time for yourself. You have to. And so I tell my friends like hold me accountable please, because I'm going to be overwhelmed. I'm going to overwork myself. I don't want to be exhausted mentally, physically, emotionally. So telling your friends that like, hey, remind me to just take a break, please. Like remind me to drink some water, do something. And so having that accountability and scheduling that time is going to help a lot.
What's up? Shout out to your friends. You want to give them a quick shout out to who
Yeah,
holds you down like that?
yeah. Shout out to Amber, Dominique, and then my friends back home, Malcolm, Tyreek, and all that.
Yeah, that's so true. All right, I got this one comes from Amber. She says, "You are a very beautiful young lady. Have you ever or currently do modeling?"
So I did model for a little bit. I'm not signed to anybody right now, but I do have a lot of photographer friends. And so they're like, hey, like, do you want to be my model for this? Like right now, I'm just trying to test out my camera, blah, 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 blah. I'm trying to build my portfolio. So I was like, you want me in your portfolio? Yeah, I'll do it. So, I mean, I try to do it now or not now, but whenever I do have time, it's just rainy. Like it's rains all the time in Oregon. So there's really not that much of a chance, but I do it sometimes, just to get my little creative side going. I'm not really artistic. I play an instrument, but I'm not artistic.
Oh, what instrument you play?
The saxophone.
Hey, okay, I see you.
Yes, sir.
All right, this one comes from Anthony. He says, "What was the hardest thing about college?"
So many things just came to my head. Keeping my mental health good. I'm gonna be very transparent about that because
Amen.
it's never talked about. And I think for me it was just really hard because I was homesick and I was trying to deal with a lot of stuff going on, like with my extracurriculars and trying to keep my grades up. The rain really like affects you. I don't care how much you love the rain, like seeing it every day for 8 months is going to like do something to you mentally. And so I stayed on campus like from morning till night, so I never really saw the sun. And I was just so drained, and I would go home. It was just like go home and then go to sleep, do homework, go to sleep, wake up, do the same thing again, go to class. I really had to make sure that I was okay. Like sometimes, to be honest, I wasn't like eating just because I was so stressed about like life. I was like, this is not it. This is just a lot. I was going through breakups. I was going through like losing my friends. I had to cut off some friends like back home. That shit really sucked. Like it took a toll on me. And it's just like I don't know how I did it, but I did it by going to therapy, and I had the support of my friends mostly. Like I live with my best friends. I have my best friends like they're a call away. And then with the help of my therapist, like she was a black woman, like that was probably the best decision I had ever made, just because I took care of like my mental health. And like I was so refusing. I did not want to go to therapy. I was just like, no, I don't want to do this. But then when you start like thinking to a certain degree where it's like, okay, I can't think like this anymore, you have to do that. Like you have to take care of yourself. And if you can't afford therapy, then learn your love languages and do that for yourself. Like for example, my love languages are words or quality time, words of affirmation, and I think physical touch. So it's like since quality time is my top one, I spend time like with myself, I spend time with my friends, I spend time doing what I like. And a part of that, it's you're gonna have bad days, but you have to remind yourself like it's only a bad day, it's not a bad life. It's gonna keep going. Like you're gonna keep going, I promise. But some of our friends, like unfortunately, like they couldn't keep going. And that's what like made me want to live my life for them, because they should have, like, I wish that they could be here to experience like my victories, and I wish that
Same.
they could be here so that I could celebrate their victories. But I have to live, I feel like sometimes they're watching me, so I have to like keep going.
Same. And I'm a big advocate for mental health because mental health is very serious and it's not talked about. There's actually kind of like a stigma with it because people think, oh, you just want attention, or oh, it's not that bad, get over it. And it's like, no, it's some people really like don't know, like where to go to, where to turn. I mean, I suffer from depression for a very long time, actually. And, I really, well, I don't know if I ever really got over it completely, but I'm a lot better and I'm very open about it, especially losing a friend to suicide. It really like affected me like every day. I mean, I just visited her gravesite yesterday, like, and it hurts to know because like I was there, like, and I don't really talk about it too much on the show, but I was there and like that mental stage. But really, through the grace of God and great friends, I was able to overcome that. And that's why I'm glad you touched on like mental health, because like I want to be a big advocate for it. Like there is help out there. Like you said, love signs is great. Really, like me was help too. Also meditation,
Mhm.
finding out like what truly makes you happy.
Yeah.
Like, and I love how you said, you can have a bad day, but it's not a bad life. And I take it a little further. I got this from Diamond Dallas Page, a quote that he said before, where he's like, I'm one of the happiest men alive. And then the interview was like, why do you say that? You don't go through like stresses and stuff. He's like, oh, I went through 3 divorces, lost my parents, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, how are you the happiest man alive? He said, because he said, what I do is I don't have bad days anymore. He said, I put that in my mind that those bad days are gone. It's kind of like disrespectful to the ones that's no longer here to waste 24 hours focusing on one thing that really like derailed me. So he's like, I don't have bad days anymore. I have bad moments. So I have thousands of bad moments sometimes in a day. He's like, but I refuse to have a bad day. I will not let that affect my 24 hours. And I was like, wow. So, and that's how I use that now. Like, I have bad moments. I don't have bad days. Bad
Yeah.
days are long gone.
I was just having a moment. But yeah, I think mental health is just as important as your physical health. And sometimes like you can see that, like, if my room is a mess, my head is a mess. Like what is going on? So as soon as I like clean up my room and I like sage my room, like I'm very spiritual, like I meditate, I do all of that. So I just consult my ancestors, and I try to just what are you guys trying to teach me right now? Like what is the lesson that you want me to learn? And then I just, try to focus on having a more positive outlook for the
Definitely.
next day.
That is amazing. You are an amazing person. Very strong, too. And thank you for opening up about that.
No problem. Thank you.
And this one comes from Sean. He says, what are some of your hobbies or things you like to do?
I was literally playing Call of Duty before I called you. Oh my God.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
that's good to know you're a gamer. What you
Yeah,
play? You play Xbox or PlayStation?
PlayStation. I haven't got that PS5. I don't know. If a man out there wants to pay for my PS5, then
Good luck finding it. I can't find it anywhere.
but yeah, I play video games. Well, video game. I just play Call of Duty. I just got Cold War. I don't still trying to test it out. I don't know if I like it yet or not. They got Nuketown 24/7. That's what I like to do. So
Okay.
yeah.
You play online?
Of course.
What's your gamer tag for all the viewers that want to try you in PlayStation?
It's Hela Dadon. HeladADon.
You're gonna have so many different game and like invites and stuff now. Once I get this out,
It's gonna be good. I'm still trying to work on it. Let me see. I don't really like to watch TV, but I like to watch whatever my friends put on. Right now I'm watching P Valley. Pretty good.
I heard that's a good show. I heard about it. I'm into. I've been a Power fan since like 2015, so I'm into Power.
I haven't seen the new one with Rick,
Oh,
the head honcho. I haven't seen him yet.
it's getting good. It's like they're about to have the season finale actually tomorrow
Okay,
already.
so I still accept late Christmas gifts. I accept, the PS5, and I'll take a Stars account. Thank you.
Hey, I'll email you mines, okay?
Oh, you're the best, dude. You're the best.
Got you. You know, you gotta catch up now. It's getting good. All right.
Yeah.
This question comes from James. I think we touched on this already, kind of, but he says, "What is the greatest moment of your life so far?"
The greatest moment of my life. Dang. Oh, there's so many great moments. I did this for like post a picture like on Instagram, and they're like, choose a happy moment. I was like, damn, there's so many happy moments. Um, I guess a really good moment was just sitting outside by the river in Eugene, and I was just so happy. Like I was so content with my life. I hadn't felt that in so long. Just knowing that like I just graduated and there's people that like support me. I think that was just one of the most genuine moments of happiness that I've had, being by the water and being in the sun. That was that just topped it. Like the
It's the,
sun, I haven't seen you in like 8 months. Where you been at?
it's the little things.
It's literally the little things. Like that's why I said like time is just so you cannot waste it. If you don't like to go outside, at least like step outside for like 5 minutes of fresh air, and I promise you, you will feel so much better.
Amen on that. And
Mhm.
here's my last one from Sasha. She says, "What are some of your goals that you have set for 2021?"
Hmm. um, I really the first one obviously is to like to stack my money, like just stack and learn how to create multiple create multiple sources of income, just so like I can feel good, and like I feel good right now, but I think that's probably gonna be the most adultish thing that I want to accomplish, because yeah, and then really just work on the woman that I want to be. I feel like there's some wounds that I still like should work on and try to heal and whatnot. So I'm just gonna focus on me a lot this year. I not gonna lie, I feel like I did a lot for a lot of people last year, and it was at the expense of my like emotional and mental labor. So this year I'm really just gonna choose myself and learn to say no. And yeah, just it's Lahela's year. It's my savage. Like I'm not 21, but I'm 23. But 20, 21,
Yeah,
savage.
that's savage life could last throughout the entire 20s. So
Exactly.
you're straight.
And then I don't know, just work more on my spiritual well-being and spend more time with like my friends and my family. Like I didn't realize how much time I spent with my family and friends before the pandemic. And then when the pandemic hit, I was just like, I can't see them. Like, what the
Mhm.
heck is going on? So yeah.
Wow. We actually have a lot of the same goals because 2021, I'm just playing it day by day. No, I'm fine. No, I literally like my biggest thing is forgiveness because I've had a lot of people do me wrong a lot in 2020. Well, shoot, if we could take it all the way back to like birth, but I would say from 2020, though, was like one of the most challenging times where like people were taking advantage of me a lot. And I'm not, like you saying, being very available for some, putting a lot of people over my own self, not saying no enough, and at the expense of my own sanity at times. And I always hated to think like, oh man, I don't want to be selfish, but like you have to have a little bit
Have
of that. Exactly. You
yeah.
have to.
Yeah, you have to be selfish. Like this is like you get one chance in life, and you have to live it how you want. You can't live by the ear of other people. You can't live by words of other people. You have to do what Alvin wants. I have to do what Lahela wants, not for what anybody else wants. So yeah, that's my biggest goal, just to make myself happy, make myself, I just need to fall in love with myself.
Amen. Amen. That's crazy you said that, because I was talking to somebody about that the other day, where I was like, it was like, do you love yourself? And I was like, I love certain things about me. It was like, no, do you love yourself all as a whole? And I'm like, I got a lot of work, man. you know.
A lot of work. Like healing hurts. Like
hmm
that's just kind of, it's like pretty ugly. Like what? Like healing hurts? Like how does healing hurt? But healing will have you feeling like you're on top of the world one day, and then the next day you're just like, what is going on? Everything around me is falling apart. But on those days that you feel like things are like falling apart, it's one of those days where you really have to sit back and just be like, okay, what is the root? Like what is the problem? Why am I feeling away? Why does it affect me so much? And then once you like get deeper down into like that dimension, you'll come out with so much clarity, and you'll be like, why? Like, what was even going on with me at that time? And you just figure yourself out. You'll learn yourself.
Definitely. Thank you again for being a part of the show. I think we're gonna wrap up right here. This is a great spot. Um, I mean, I'm very happy. I know you said you're going to be saying no a lot this year. I'm glad you said yes to this interview,
Oh
because
yeah, go
because it was amazing just talking with you, catching up, and just seeing how great everything's turned out for you, and being open about challenges and goals. I mean, I can't thank you enough. Any like shout outs you want to give, or for people to follow you like on Instagram or your Facebook, or just put you out there more?
Well, shout out to all my people back home. I feel like I have a lot of people to shout. I mean,
Oh, go ahead. Where's the internet? We got all day.
shout out Malcolm, Tyreek, Tyshawn, Dayon. Let's see who else. Alexis, my homegirl. Samaria, Khadijah, of course, Nisha, and then all my people, back home. Just if I didn't mention you, it's love. And then my people over here, Amber, Maria, Dominique, Trenton. Oh my gosh, just naming people, like I realized like there's a lot of people like on my team, which is so awesome. And then okay, my socials. Follow me on Instagram. That's .lahela, Lahela. Twitter, lovely Lahela. And then my LinkedIn is my first name, last name, Lahela Daniels. If you want to connect me on there, go ahead, do that. Yeah, hit me up. I'm available all the time, so please talk to me.
Well, I'm hoping the peeps will definitely take advantage of that. Thank you again, Lahale, for being a part of the show. I wish you nothing but much success, more success, I should say, not much, more success. And just have a great week.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Like this podcast it's gonna go off. Like I'm so excited for your growth. I'm so excited to
Thank you.
have you as a friend in my life. Like I'm just very excited. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Thank you again. You take care.
All right. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.